Hello and welcome to another edition of the E-commerce Odyssey podcast. I'm here with Kiril from Rush. Kiril, could you tell us about your Shopify app, please?
Thanks so much for having me today on the podcast. It's been a while since we started, since we managed to.
A lot has changed in the world. A lot has changed in the world since then.
Yeah, exactly. But we're here, and hopefully we're going to provide some value to your audience and to the people who are going to listen to the podcast. I'm Kirilov, coming up from Bulgaria. We launched a Shopify app called Rush back in 2020, back in March. And we are so fortunate right now to support more than 1,500 plus Shopify merchants every single day and growing rapidly. And hopefully I can give my take on the current state of e-commerce.
Tell us about tell us about, what does this, how does this extend the Shopify, functionality? Why is there a need for it? And how did you get the idea?
That's a good question, by the way. It goes back to 2017 when I kind of migrated my efforts from building Amazon FBA private label businesses to acquiring traffic from Facebook and just doing dropshipping with products from China, to be honest with you. I've done it for almost like 3 years on a good scale. And I realized that I have so many issues that always coming up on top with payment processors, with people getting angry because of these super weird Chinese carriers that are not going to get anybody notified, because these integrations are going to take time to even Shopify to build them up accordingly and to leverage the data in order to make your customers calm, in a sense, to give us like 10 or 15 days, your product is going to get delivered. But in the meantime, feel free to come back, look up more products, and it's a natural process for satisfying the expectations and making people come back to your store and spend more money.
So how does it work? So basically it's a plugin. How does it compare to the Shopify Shop app, which does will show tracking details?
Shopify app is a great extension to the platform itself, but it's super limited to the functionality that anybody can get their hands on, meaning that the consumer has to, number one, install an application, which is like from App Store or Android Store. We're not an application, let alone. We're an application for the merchants to leverage the data and to turn the data into more repeat buyers coming back to their website and their funnel. So, for instance, if Shopify app is going to notify when an item is out for delivery or delivered, we have 50 plus recipes ready to go, held at customs, out of the customs, having an unexpected delay, any kind of issues which are part of the unboxing experience, meaning that from order to unboxing experience, we are here to support you, get the maximum out of your communication with your customers.
Is this something which has to be done manually? So, for example, will it only work with, so couriers I know, for example, Royal Mail don't feed back that information as far as I know.
Royal Mail is going to feed all the information via API.
So can you get more information? Will it tell you if I was to send something by Royal Mail from the UK to Bulgaria, will it tell me how much information will your system be able to give the customer about where these products are?
Yeah, that's a good question, by the way. All the info that we're going to get from the API of Royal Mail, and it's been updated almost every single day, if not a couple of times per day, on these busy season of the year, busy seasons of the year. And technically, you're going to leverage the data. And when I say data, think about it like that. The default statuses like in transit, out for delivery, pending, delivered, etc. But for instance, there is a snippet of information called the description of the daily update coming up from the carrier itself. That snippet and that text of description, you can apply it using Klaviyo, Omnisend, or any other, for example, email service provider that we're currently integrated with, to notify your customers. So it's currently held at Heathrow Airport, and it's been there for the past 2-3 days. Like, for instance, the Shop app doesn't really know that information, but we know it, and you can use that as a trigger to push an email notification out to make your customer satisfied with the feedback.
Okay, so presumably, do you support a wide range of couriers?
More than 400 plus right now. Direct API integrations. It took a while to build them up, by the way. It's really like...
Imagine.
Yeah.
Our courier integrations, I imagine they must be variable in quality.
They are, and with the more data that we're gonna start collecting, the better that we have to become as a software platform, because we're consuming so much data, so many updates every single few minutes, and we just need to keep on building that beautiful performance and experience to the end consumer, which is our client, which is the Shopify merchant itself.
So is this particularly good for people who, because you mentioned, drop shipping from China, is this system particularly good for international shipping?
It's both great for domestic and international as well. With a couple of reasons, by the way. Number one, the velocity of the retention, if it's a domestic shipping, is going to be actually the frequency of communicating with your buyers is going to be as often as possible. So for instance, in a matter of 5 days, you can send maybe between 3 and 5 shipping notifications, and you're going to expect between 3 and 5 sessions per single buyer to come back to your store, look up the order information, and then consume more content, where it's going to be posts, more products, best-selling collections, or if it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday season, like the natural discount that you're going to throw at their face. But nonetheless, that traffic is converting like crazy. So for instance, usual e-com stores are facing a conversion rate between 1 and 3, maybe up to 5%. If it's really a good optimized D2C store. But on the other hand, the repeat buyers who are going to come back to your funnel are going to convert between 10 and 15%. So you can imagine that for every single email, it really depends on your store, on your niche, on your category. But we're seeing between 50 cents up to almost like $5 to $6 per recipient revenue for a single email that is going to get pushed to these repeat buyers coming back to your funnel. And when I say repeat buyers, it means that it might be a brand new purchase made on your store, but they're going to come back to the funnel and they might put up a second purchase, a third purchase. They're going to become repeat buyers.
So how does it, your system, does it have like a landing page? Does it have like, you might be interested in these products kind of thing?
Correct. We're currently building a customizable branded tracking page, which you have some banners, which beautiful call to action buttons to go back to a specific collection. Or we are utilizing a system that we are currently working on to make it even better with upsell and cross-sell functionality. So for instance, you might select which products to show up right below the order information on your tracking page. So it's a natural process. They're going to consume the most recent updates. They're going to scroll down. I mean, I'm speaking about the bias itself, and they're going to click through and spend more money. And what we're seeing, it's fascinating, but even though we are not the typical post-purchase upsell, downsell platform, but we're going to utilize that technology quite soon because we want to completely close the gap from order to unboxing, as I said it. We are seeing a boom between 2 and 3% on top, more revenue to your bottom line every single month. And the ROI is just tremendous because based upon our plans that we have put together on the Shopify App Store, we guarantee between 10 and 100x ROI, or we're going to give your money back.
Okay, that sounds like a good deal. So how do you, something I've been thinking about recently, how can retailers differentiate themselves through delivery? What do you think? I mean, okay, so I'll give you some examples, right? So we ship to, my retail business, we ship into Europe, and we actually use mainly raw mail, airmail, which hopefully isn't tracked. But we're beginning to think, God, we need to start to wow consumers with the delivery. What are your kind of best tips for, basically wowing consumers?
Yeah, that's a good question, by the way. Number one, shipping speed. It's a number one factor, because if you're going to play cheap, you're going to extend the time for anybody to have their hands dirty. What I mean by that is to get the item delivered before they're going to think about, I'm going to spend even more money. Because it's a natural process. If it's the first time buy, they're going to wait for the experience to come to an end. They're going to open the package. If it's a quality product, they're going to be having another reason to come back and spend more money. So optimize on speed. And if you're not doing drop shipping, for instance, if you're sourcing products from China or any other place out there, make sure that you can restock on time so that you can still push products not on back order, but for instance, have them almost always ready in stock to be delivered to your customers. Okay.
So, I mean, how do you think? How do you see the future of online delivery? What kind of changes are on the way?
I think that the future is not so bright. I think that even huge companies like DHL and FedEx and UPS and Royal Mail, for instance, they can't just optimize for one season, which is the Q4 season, where the demand is going to go 10x, but they don't have enough, human resources, trucks, cars, whatsoever to support, the increase of the sales only in 10 days of the year. So usually it's going to be that spike in Q4 and these shipping delays, which are inevitable at some point.
You've seen huge delays in China, I think. I mean, I think that the couriers hate Black Friday because it just creates a big blip.
Correct. But they're going to make so much money. Even though they had it, they're going to make, the chunk of the revenue in the Q4 season. But nonetheless, I think that the end consumers, which are the buyers, are getting used to these delays right now. But they want to get assured that they're getting notified. Item is out for delivery. It might take, for example, 10 days longer, but they're going to just be patient to get on that beautiful deal.
So are you seeing, because my experience with, because I don't know if you've been to the UK much, but it used to be in the UK that Royal Mail was like the rubbish service. No one liked it, right?
Yeah, it's like the regular post service.
Well, it's a regular post. But now you see what happens is now you've got Royal Mail. The Royal Mail van turns up every day. It's a gentleman in a uniform. And, whereas, Amazon is just a guy in a white van who just turns up. And they just turned the delivery, into a guy with a PDA. And people like Hermes, people like Yodel in the UK, the quality of delivery is actually getting worse because there's so much price pressure.
Correct.
That, they're a little bit. I mean, Royal Mail is a little bit more expensive, but a whole pile better. I mean, are you seeing some carriers there's a drop in quality of delivery?
Always. Like, I think that the world is not made to supply the quality of the service on a huge scale. To put it like that. The more that the business is going to grow, the less efficient it's going to turn out to be. It's not like a software that you can automate on the web using more hosting power, better, for example, a technology to apply into it. But when it comes down to real life examples, like utilizing the supply chain with these huge delays that are happening in US primarily over the past 1 year, and with the fact that e-commerce is growing, the growth of the e-commerce can't sustain the quality of the service when it comes down to shipping couriers. So the only way to have it, not that I'm trying to sell my software, but is to be open, transparent with your end consumers, your customers, and just to say, we know that in the likelihood of having your item delivered with Hermes or Royal Mail, there might be some challenges, but we're here to support you. Please trust in our brand. We want to make your life so much more easier.
Yeah. But I mean, to a certain extent, you see, if everything was delivered perfectly all the time, you'd be out of a business. So,
correct, maybe.
But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But then, if everything happened perfectly, I think none of us would have jobs, would we? So it's all about.
That's a good point, by the way.
It's all about. That's true. It's all about problems. So, how do you see your product developing? What's on the roadmap?
Thank you for the question, by the way. I was not really prepared for that, but I'm going to spit it out loud. Number one, we just recently closed our seed round. We raised $2.7 million in investment, which is a great gunpowder for our company to keep on building a great product. Number two, we are going to be focusing primarily on data. The two most visited pages, which are the order confirmation page and the tracking page after the buy button. And we're going to be applying upsell, downsell functionality. So with these three optimization parts of the post-purchase experience, we want to boost the revenue, the bottom line revenue, with more than 10%. That's the whole goal of the software either way. Use the data, apply the data, and make more triggers, aka more tools and resources for these merchants to fight back on the cost per acquisitions, which are ever rising on Facebook and TikTok. TikTok is a little bit cheap right now, which is like the new kid in town, which is going to provide that opportunity for at least a couple of more years moving forward. But Google is expensive. Anything when it comes down to acquiring customers from the web is expensive nowadays. So the only way to build a solid business is to, number one, care on the pre-purchase experience so that you can you're going to have enough guarantees to make more people convinced and spend money with your brand. But after you're going to get these purchases coming up into your funnel, you need to find a way to treat them nicely and build that AOV up and build that customer lifetime value up. And that's why we're going to come into play and help you out with building that retention and customer lifetime value.
Okay, great. Look, final question. What has inspired you recently? Could be anything. Could be, I don't know, it's not a very inspirational time at the moment, is it? In these dark days.
I'm probably going to have 1,000 people hating me for that, but I think that TikTok is a great place right now for newbies, even like myself, to try and build content which is native to what the expectations of the final consumer is right now. No more like fancy advertorials like on YouTube and these fancy ads on Facebook where you're going to scroll the feed and you know that you're going to stumble upon an ad. I think that we're shifting right now to a more like native experience. Even right now, me and you talking over a stupid microphone, which is like $50. We're recording content and we can repurpose the content on different media channels. But this is why TikTok is doing it so well, because you can simply get on your app, record for 10, 15 minutes. You can split up into pieces and you have a great chance to build your own community, which is not really secured right now on YouTube or Facebook and all the other places. And by the way, Facebook is doing a pretty bad job with the organic reach either way over the past couple of years. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see how Facebook is going to go down in terms of stock price, in terms of people spending money, time on their platform against these more visual appealing platforms like TikTok.
That would break my heart. I think Facebook is an awful company, second only to Amazon in terms of awfulness, if that's a word.
I don't think Amazon. I think that Amazon is actually a great example how to build a company that cares about the end consumer, which is not Facebook by all means.
But they don't care about you could argue that their consumers, that their retailers are also their customers, and they treat their retailers very badly.
Correct, but Amazon was not built to please these merchants who are trying to sell on the platform. Amazon was just built for the brand Amazon itself, and then anything afterwards. So meaning that one-on-one communication.
I think it's an issue that Amazon is a it's great for consumers. It's dreadful for but it's a monopoly.
Correct.
And it's a monopoly, and you see as someone who deals a lot with Amazon on the inside, you see this monopolistic behavior, as in they treat their merchants really, really badly. And when they've got rid of all their competition, then they're going to start to treat their consumers badly as well, because that is what monopolies do.
Correct. And I think that it's a good point, and it's an ever repeating example, regardless of the place that we're experiencing in our lifetime when it's come down to business. For example, even war right now, which is a shitty place to be right now with the case of Ukraine. But I'm referring to the fact that if it's a baby just born, it's almost like cranking can't do nothing. But the more that it's going to grow, the more power the baby, whether it's going to be a boy or girl, they're going to collect. And at some point, they start to feel that they're unbeatable. That happened with Amazon. They're so big right now. So I don't see any real competitors aside from people who are the end consumers to change their mind, which is what's happening right now with Facebook. If you don't treat your end consumers where the attention is the right way, they're going to turn your back and go elsewhere to look for more pleasing content. And that's where I think that I don't try to play and try to fight with Amazon by all means. In my opinion, I would rather be on two platforms rather than just fight against one to each other. So it means that I would rather advise anybody to build their Shopify store, but also put up your Amazon store as well, put up your eBay listings, do the omnichannel marketing, because you never know when things are going to hit the fan.
That's true. That's a good bit of advice to end with. Thank you, Kiril. It's been great talking to you, and I think I'm going to go and try out your product.
Thank you so much for having me today, buddy, and looking forward to talking to you in future as well.
Okay. Bye-bye.